Welcome to the Sports Social Club show. Forgot what our name was for a second. Welcome to the Sports Social Club, hosted by Alex and Jess. I'm Alex.
I'm Jess.
And we have our second official guest on the podcast today, Hannah Lito. Welcome to the Sports Social Club. How are you?
Woo!
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
We did have some minor technical difficulties. We have recovered. Jess, you made me laugh and lose at the beginning because I feel like you drink something 1 second before we come on every single time. It throws me off. You're like, it's like 3, 2, and you're like, quick, let me chug something real fast.
And this time I chose water so I didn't burp.
That's good. Yeah, Jess is a notorious Coke drinker of many kinds. What's your go-to Coke these days?
Well, now I'm in recovery from sugar Coke,
right.
I'm in Coke Zero now.
Coke Zero. The other day, I really wanted a Coke Zero, and so I was like, "Oh, I'll grab one on my way to work," because I didn't have any at home, and I wanted the fountain one because that is the best one in my personal opinion.
Who craves a Coke Zero?
Me.
For fun?
Yes. I'm not a regular Coke drinker. I wanted the Coke Zero. But anyway, I go to the gas station and they only had regular Coke or Diet Coke. So I got the Diet Coke, but it just didn't hit as hard as the Coke Zero. But
Tastes terrible.
Okay.
Tastes burnt.
Didn't you used to love Diet Coke?
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah, I did. It tastes awful now. I hate it.
Okay. Anyway, we'll do a little bit of our normal sports recap, and then we will get into some tennis talk with Hannah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about, you got any NBA news you want to talk about?
Yes. So my Oklahoma City Thunder swept the Grizzlies because the Grizzlies suck. and now we got like a week and a half vacation waiting for all these other teams to get their shit together and win.
Nice. Who are they going to play the winner of?
It will be the Nuggets or the Clippers.
Do you have a preference?
I prefer to play the Clippers because I know we can beat James Harden. Which is nice, but no, I don't want to play the Nuggets because they got Jokic and Russell Westbrook and no, too much.
Shows how much I keep up with the NBA. Didn't know that Russell Westbrook was on the Nuggets, so.
Yeah.
Or that James Harden was on the Clippers.
I know. Bro, Harden, it's like you forget where he plays. He's played at so many different places, and he's not as good anymore. They have like no other amazing players on the Clippers, but the Nuggets though, I mean, Russell Westbrook, he's coming off the bench, but he's like the sixth man basically.
Gotcha.
He's really good. So
Hannah, have you been keeping up with the NBA at all, or not so much?
No, just Miles, my roommate, watches the game, so I see a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Nice. Other than that, you got anything else to talk about in terms of the NBA, or we're just chilling now with the Thunder?
Other than that, we're chilling. We're just watching everyone else play.
Do you think
it's a good time.
the Thunder have a legitimate chance of winning the championship?
Yes, 100%. 100%. This is the year.
Who do you think is their biggest competition in the Eastern Conference?
I would say, honestly, the Celtics. The Cavs are really good, but I don't know, they've kind of fallen off a little bit. I mean, they're really good, but yeah, no, I feel like Boston has a chance to actually make it all the way to the finals. So, I don't know. It'd be kind of hard, but I still think we'd beat them.
That's good.
Yeah. I don't think it'd be a sweep.
Yeah.
Make it fun.
In the NHL playoffs, things have not been going as well for our teams as
Not good.
as the Oklahoma City Thunder. Last night was Game 4, Dallas Stars, Colorado Avalanche. Stars were up 2-1. So last time we talked, Stars were down 1-0 in the series. They lost the first game 5-1. Terrible. Then the Stars decided to, play a little bit better. They won Game 2 and Game 3 in overtime, so they went up 2-1 in the series, and then last night absolutely blew it, lost 4-0. It was horrible. The first couple minutes of the game were really exciting. No goals were scored, but it was fast-paced, it was aggressive. It was like, okay, this is going to be a game. And then the Avs scored again and again and again, and they pulled Jake Ottinger after the second period, after he let in 3 goals, which they were saying on the broadcast, they were really surprised about, which I also was surprised. It really wasn't his fault. But I think there was kind of like 2 different reasonings what this could have gone for. Either one being like, you're replaceable, like step up. The coach is like, I'm making a statement by pulling this guy. Or 2, it's like, okay, you're down 3-0. We're probably not going to recover from this. Pull him so he can just rest and be ready for the next game. It could have been one of those. It could have been both. It could have been neither. But those are my thoughts.
Yeah.
Jess, any opinions?
It sucked. It was awful all the way around. I also don't think an 8:30 start time really helps when you're coming from Dallas, but
it was their second game there.
I'm gonna die on this hill. But no, it was just awful. We really need Miro Heiskanen back. We really need Jason Robertson back.
Yes.
Our offense looks so dead. It looks so terrible.
Hence the no goals.
Hence the no goals. But our defense is, I mean, it's awful. Yeah. It's so bad. Even Harley can't fix it. I mean, it's just terrible all the way around.
Yeah, so Game 5 tomorrow. You're going. Hopefully you bring them some good luck. That would be great.
Yeah, so.
I've seen, different updates about Heiskanen coming back. Basically, no one's talking about Jason Robertson, which is understandable. I think they knew he wasn't going to be playing first round. But Miro is, getting better day by day. They say he hasn't had any, planned contact yet in practice. So I don't know if they're just being we don't want him to take any, or he's not there yet. I'm kind of hoping it's just we don't want him to take any, and then, surprise, he plays in Game 5 tomorrow.
I was hoping so, yeah.
They need it. It's in Dallas. It'll get the fans hype. It would hopefully get the team more hype, having their best defender back, but I don't know what the odds of that happening are.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope he comes back tomorrow. If not, please Game 6. I don't want to have him surprise come back if we make it to Game 7 and just deteriorate.
Yeah, well,
some
interesting stats from that series, because both of the Stars wins were in overtime and they only led the Game 1 for a very brief second. Even though it's 2-2, the Stars have only been leading in a game for 1 minute and 2 seconds. So,
insane.
Because since their wins were in overtime, time is ended. So they led for 1 minute and 2 seconds in Game 1 and really haven't led since. So not so good.
No.
Other series in the NHL playoffs, they're all pretty close. The only one that could have been a sweep yesterday was Senators and Maple Leafs, but Senators ended up winning in overtime to push Game 5. Maple Leafs are up 3-1 in that series. Everything else is either 2-1, 2-2, something like that. So
Yep. Did you see the bench clearing brawl in the Caps game?
Yes, and the fight was on the bench and everybody else was off the ice.
Yeah,
on the ice.
I was like, what the heck? I've never seen that before in hockey.
No, it was crazy.
I mean,
especially
it was insane.
Yeah, especially in the playoffs. Yes, it's aggressive, but usually it's not that aggressive. Of course, it was Tom.
Fights like that.
Of course, it was Tom Wilson.
That I know. He's a thug, man. I hate him. I hate him so much. I wish he was on our team. I hate him in general. He's one of those.
Yeah.
But no, I saw an equipment manager got a broken hockey stick,
defended
himself against it. I'm like, you have to when it comes to Tom Wilson.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, no, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think I don't think this is our year, even if we make it to the finals. I'm sorry. I
maybe if we get the players,
if we can get everyone back, if we can get everyone back, sure. But also, I don't know, man. The Panthers are terrifying. And then the Caps are terrifying. I don't know. It's either one, which I feel like those are the two that are going to end up. But also, we'd have to make it past the Jets, who are probably going to end up winning their series. I don't know if we could do that, but
guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
no F1 race this week.
Nope. Next week, Miami.
It was the NFL draft.
Yes.
This last week. Did you keep up with that at all?
I watched every day.
Oh, okay, you did. You kept up
Some surprises with the draft this year.
Big ones.
Jess and Hannah, both as big Dallas Cowboys fans, who did the Cowboys get anybody good? I really didn't pay attention to them.
Not any big ones.
I was about to say, by your hesitation there, I'm going to say no.
It wasn't really exciting.
Yeah, we got a cornerback from East Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no big names or anything like that, which is pretty typical for the Cowboys, I'd say.
That
went about exactly how it should.
Yep. Yeah, we got a defensive tackle, defensive end. We got a guard. That our first round pick was a guard, Tyler Booker, and that was. I mean, it's a good pick. I wish we would do something flashy.
No quarterbacks?
No,
Yeah.
no
No.
quarterbacks, and
No
so
quarterbacks.
Dak is so we have Dak, of course,
Of course, till
but
he dies.
we got exactly, and but we got traded or let go of Cooper Rush,
Mm.
we traded or let go of Trey Lance, so I don't even know who our backup is right now,
No, I
but
actually don't either.
yeah, I was hoping we would draft a quarterback like in like the sixth round,
Yeah.
and have a good
Yeah.
backup. Nope.
No. Maybe
Nope.
they're
I was thinking
gonna.
we were gonna get Shador Sanders,
I
Oh.
know.
like
I was thinking
because
that too. I was like,
yeah,
oh no.
I was like, oh God, here we go. This is gonna
The
be
I just
crazy.
want
It
to
would,
know what happened with him. Like,
I think it's
yeah.
one. I don't think he was playing tough enough competition in like college, and so they were probably like, is
no.
this guy even that good? Um, and then my guess is it's more outside of football issues.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
that's
whether
what
it's
we were
his
thinking
dad,
too.
whether it's him, who knows what
Hmm.
is going on. But I saw something that I think it was the Giants. They were
Hmm.
saying like, oh, they had like an interview type thing with him, and they like he basically wasn't prepared
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Yeah, I
like
could see
whatever
that.
they presented to him and all that kind of stuff. And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe this isn't our guy.
And apparently he went into interviews with the different GMs, and like he would say straight up like, you get me and I'm gonna change everything, like this is how it's gonna go. Someone asked him like, where do you see yourself in 5 years if you're on this team, and he's like, oh, mayor of the city.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
it's the ego thing, and
Mm-hmm.
like his dad had that ego coming out of college, or it yeah coming out of college, and he had the talent to back it up, and so everyone knew it was prime time, that's it,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, he's not like that. He shouldn't
Yeah.
have that kind of ego.
No, you should not.
Yeah. So be interested to see what happens with him, if
Yeah, but now
anything.
the Browns have like
Six
five
quarterbacks or something like
whatever.
that.
Yeah,
I was like,
Yeah.
insane.
I'm like, who are they gonna
And
give
like,
up? You're not
why
all
would you
playing.
take? Also, I'm shocked. I am shocked that they took Dylan Gabriel. He's trash. Why would you take like a 50-year-old man
Okay,
as a
Yeah, right.
50-year-old man.
quarterback?
They already had what was it, Joe Flacco?
They got Flacco,
Yeah.
and now they're taking a quarterback who played at every college imaginable for like 10 years, and he's terrible. And then, but they could have had Shador earlier, and I'm like, why would you take two quarterbacks like that? Plus, you have Flacco, Deshaun Watson, and they signed Kenny Pickett in the offseason. So you got all of these terrible quarterbacks. I don't like not
Yeah,
much to choose from.
that's
The Seahawks got
no.
Jalen Milrow, so that was kind of
Yeah,
cool. You
that's
know,
gonna be
Yeah, that's
get
interesting.
cool.
We'll see.
him. Probably, I saw something where they're like, they'll probably just have him like learning under Sam Darnold since they brought him in the
Smart.
off season, just kind of like build him up over these next couple years maybe. And
Yeah.
then I don't think they did anything else significant. It was like a lot of like O line, D line, maybe some random, you know, secondary guys. I don't know, but it wasn't anything that was like, wow, the Seahawks got this one. Blah blah blah. There were some people who were excited about Jalen Milrow because I think he was the only quarterback they drafted. So obviously people
Yeah,
are like excited about that.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't be excited about that.
yeah, Seahawks fans
But we'll
will
see.
take anything.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think there was anything else significant in sports this week.
No, no, it's been other than the playoffs. It's really in the draft. It hasn't been anything too exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Hannah, we can move on to you now.
Yeah.
Hannah Lito is the men's and women's head tennis athletic trainer at SMU in Dallas, Texas. You've been there
Whoop, whoop.
for you just finished your third season with both teams. Is that correct?
Third season with both teams, fourth with the women.
Right.
So,
Um,
woohoo.
Hey.
so give us a little background, who you are, what do you do, and then maybe a little bit of like how did sports come into your life growing up, and then we can go from there.
Yeah. So I grew up in Allen, Texas, which is like just right north of Dallas. And my dad has always been a diehard Cowboys fan. Like I'm talking, we would put a shrine out around the TV before Cowboys games just for like good luck purposes. And and so like that kind of started me honestly in sports. So football has definitely like always been something that I've been super interested in and always followed and stuff. Um, But as I grew up, obviously being a girl, couldn't play football. You could. I did punt, pass, and kick
I
when
don't
I
know
was
if you
in
had to
elementary
put
school.
being a girl in quotes, but
Well, I mean, I'm saying like as in like, oh, girls can't
yeah,
play
yeah,
football. Um, which now they can, so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I grew up kind of with my dad teaching me all the sports and all that stuff. I played soccer and softball and all that fun stuff. When I got more serious about sports, I mainly just did cross country and track. So kind of went that direction. And then when I was in high school, I wanted to be involved because Allen High School is like such a big school that you kind of had to find your place.
Mm,
I know that you guys
hate them.
probably, yeah,
yes.
freaking Allen.
Plano East, where Jess and I went, and Allen are rival schools. Not necessarily like one on one, like we both hate each other, but it's like the fact that it's a Plano school and Allen
And
don't like
we
each other.
basically hate them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I don't know if that you guys care about us.
I don't think they care.
Everyone hates Allen, and Allen is just like here for a good time. But yeah, so going to Allen, like obviously so many kids, you kind of have to find your spot. And so I wasn't a dancer, I couldn't sing, I didn't play an instrument. So I was like, what else can I do? And we went to Allen games growing up. So I would see the girls like run out on the field and give water. And I didn't know at the time that there was like so much more to it than just that. But signed up to be an athletic trainer my freshman year of high school. And kind of the way our program worked was like that freshman year, it was kind of a trial. Like you could see if you liked it or not. And then once you decided to stay, you could do it for all 4 years. So started out as a freshman. We had to take a class and like be able to name muscles and spell them and all that kind of stuff. So it was like a pretty decent program for like high school. And so then moving on to college, I was like, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. Went to Arkansas, Whoopig, and then we I started out like trying to go the physician's assistant route for school. Knew I was going to have to do school after. Ultimately hated it, and so I switched back to athletic training. Got involved with Razorback football, and then kind of the rest is history. That took me on my path. So then I went to my master's program. I stayed at Arkansas, and then ended up back at SMU because I wanted to come home back to Dallas. So started out as an intern there, got hired on full time for men's and women's tennis, and here we are.
Wow, look at that. For people who may be unfamiliar, can you tell us what is an athletic trainer?
Okay. Um, Kind of, we wear a lot of different hats. So we do rehabilitation, we take care of acute injuries, we're trained in emergency procedures. So we kind of are over everything, but we mainly work with a sport. Or you can kind of, there's different avenues now that you can go down. So you can work in an industrial setting at like a warehouse or something like that. You can be in collegiate or professional sports. You can be in like high school sports. But we basically just oversee all of those athletes and take care of them, whether that be sickness, mental health stuff, emergencies, just regular injuries that you see day to day. So
Great.
that's what we do.
Love it. I'm also an athletic trainer and previously worked with Hannah, so just wanted to see what she would say to that answer.
Did I do good?
Yeah, you did great.
Okay.
So being a tennis athletic trainer, so you had your first year women's tennis and football, and then now you're strictly tennis, men and women. Kind of walk through like what does a day in your life look like as an athletic trainer in college tennis?
Yeah, I think honestly, tennis has given me a better work-life balance than football has. So my day isn't super, super long. It's a pretty average day, I would say. During season, we'll have two practices and two lifts because of both teams. So in the morning on, like, let's say it's a Tuesday, I would go in probably around 6:30, get the boys ready for their 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. practice. And then I would kind of have a bit of a break. So I'd either get work done during that time or I would lift myself. And then 11 to 1, I usually run treatment hours. So at that point, that 11 to 1 is kind of where it's just open hours. People can come in if they need something. They know that I'm going to be in that room at that time for that specific reason. And then after that, we would have our women's practice. And that also kind of overlapped with our men's lifting. So it kind of was just like a lot of things going on at the same time throughout the day. And then obviously them being in college and juggling class schedules, I would kind of also work with people if they had classes or meetings during that 11 to 1 period that they couldn't come in. So it's kind of a lot going on throughout the day. And then I also am insurance coordinator for all of athletics at SMU.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so I would also try to work on some of my stuff like that throughout the day, just a lot of paperwork and sitting on my desk. So Alex knows because she handed that duty over to me when she left.
Sure
So that
did.
was really nice of her.
Have a great time. See you later.
But yeah, so it can be a busy day, but I think I enjoy it because I mean, college students are so different now than like when I was in college, I feel like, and that wasn't that long ago, but they're really funny and they bring a lot of energy to the training room and to practice and stuff like that. And of course, there's always drama, so that's always fun to like listen to.
Yes. I think there's like a TikTok trend going around right now when it's like the athletic training room tea is hot and you just see the athletic trainer being like,
Oh
and
yeah,
I can't remember what the
you hear
sound is that goes with it,
everything.
but it's like always listening.
Yep, always watching.
And
Yeah,
in
no, I
tennis, is there a lot of international students?
Usually, yes. Like most teams around the country are fully international, pretty much. Our team is a little bit different. We do recruit a lot of Americans. So I think I had two on my women's team this year, and I had two on my men's team that were international. That's also kind of cool because like one of my boys, well, so two of them, one's from Bulgaria, which I don't know anything about Bulgaria, so that was really cool to like meet him and learn more about that. And then the other one's from Israel, and I've actually been
Wow.
to Israel, so like we kind of connected with that, and so it's kind of cool to get to know them. And then we have a girl on the women's side that's from the UK, so her accent is really cool, and I love
Yes.
listening to her talk.
Yes, I always love when I get to work with an athlete that has an accent because I'm like, it's a nice change of pace from just the regular American accent that we hear all the
Yeah,
time.
no, it's funny because she would come in and ask for a band-aid, and she'd be like, "Can I have a plaster?" And I'm like, "A what?
Oh, what?
What is that?" So it's funny to like hear what they have to say.
That's awesome. How many athletes
Yeah.
do you work with total between the two teams?
Um, this year was probably about 22. Next year we have the NCAA is like starting the roster cap thing, or it's kind of still up in the air, but we should have 10 on our men's side next year and 8 on our women's. So it'll
Oh
be the
wow.
Yeah.
smallest rosters that I've had since I've started here. So
Why are they doing that?
I'm not sure. I think it has to do with like the revenue sharing stuff, but I have no idea. I just know originally they were going to say like, oh, you could get 10 scholarships, but it depends on the team and the like the school that they're at. So I think that we'll still have like our men's team has 4.5 scholarships that they can divvy up however they want. Um, and then our women's team, those are all full rides and it's 8. So
Wow.
it kind of just depends. But
Interesting.
um, yeah, it's very interesting. I don't want to be a coach and have to decide who gets what percent of what
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
scholarships because that sounds
It's
miserable.
awful.
Yeah.
At least with with your sports, it's like there is like a smaller number of people, so it's like you only
Yeah.
have you only have 4, but it's like okay, that's like almost 50% you're giving like scholarship to, whereas
Yeah,
like other
exactly.
teams, like I can't remember. I think I was talking to someone about like baseball one time, and it was like there's 30 plus guys on a roster there, and it was like less than 10 scholarships they had to hand out.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah, it's
insane.
kind of
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
And it depends too. Like obviously some of these kids, like tennis kids for the most part usually are very smart. And so they do get a lot of scholarship from the school. So sometimes it helps like balance. They get this much academic and then this much, for their sport. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. And it's crazy now because athletics are just changing so much. Like a lot of these kids now that get on recruiting calls are like asking how much money they're going to get for going to school. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, let's take a step back.
Yeah, being
And
being kind of like in your position, you've seen like NIL grow from basically not
mhm.
non-existent to kind of where it is now. How do you feel like that has changed, whether it's like within individual athletes, within the team, within the school? Like what does that look like from your perspective?
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting because obviously, like, these kids don't get paid to play, right? It's like just based on as soon as they come in, they get this money. Um, I think it's, I think it's gonna slowly like make college athletics more like a pro athletics, but there's no like, they're not putting any rules on anything. Like there's no regulations for anything. So I think it's going to get to a point where it's going to ruin college athletics, honestly, because, and like my sport, we don't really see it that much, but other sports on our campus, you do. Like all the revenue sports, of course, you're going to see these kids get paid a ton of money. And then what if they don't play? So now they're getting paid all this money, but they're not playing. So I think that there's some rules that need to be added to it for sure. But I think in my world, I just kind of see it from afar. But it is kind of interesting to like see some of these kids walk around campus and you're like, yeah, you make like substantially more money than me and you're getting paid to go to college. And I'm like, what's that like?
Yeah, that's wild.
And especially
Yeah.
because they're coming from like you're at SMU, so it's like it's big time money down there always.
Oh, for sure.
And so compared to like going to like let's say East Carolina, like it's
Yeah.
just completely different. So yeah, you're going to be seeing all the Lambos and all the nice things for all these
Yes.
players that might not even play. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just really interesting. I think I it's gonna be interesting to see how the NCAA deals with it, like moving forward, because I think that they're gonna have to do something. Like you can't just keep giving people money and then them doing whatever they want with it. And like we have to educate these kids too. They're like don't know that they have to pay taxes on this money and stuff like that. It's just a lot of things that go into it that I think they don't know about.
Yeah. And I feel like, like you were saying, it's kind of like transitioning and it's almost becoming like the pro like model between, like with them getting paid, whether it's through the school directly or through NIL or whatever. And I remember, it's been a few years since I've been in college, but when I was there, it was like when NIL was really starting to like become a thing. And I remember it was just like, you can tell the atmosphere kind of changes a little bit, like the attitudes of players kind of change a little bit. And like when you get into this like pro model of, okay, now all these people are getting paid all this money to be here, but then on the other side, unlike the pros, like these guys aren't getting fined for anything that
No.
they're doing wrong. So it's like you have like in the pros, oh, you guys didn't show up to a lift, fined. You didn't wear your uniform correctly, fined. You did this wrong, you're getting fined. But in college, what's happening to them? Nothing.
Yeah.
Literally nothing. Well, because too, I think there's kind of this thing where they know that they could transfer at any point too, because the transfer portal is such a big thing. So it's like they can just leave and go find somewhere that will allow them to keep doing those things if like these coaches here won't, So it's kind of crazy though, because like I worked in professional football too. So I like seen both sides of it. And like those guys come in every day and that's their job. Like they know that they can get fired from that job at any point in time. So it's really important to them to like maintain their bodies, make sure they're lifting the way that they're supposed to, like making sure they're on time to stuff. Like it's just like me going to my job. That's their job for them. But when you add college players into that mix, it's just a little different. Like they can get away with a lot of other stuff. So
The maturity
yeah,
is
it's
so
really
different.
interesting. Oh yeah, so different. Yeah.
Wow.
I had another question and now I forgot it. That's okay.
So what about tennis, what time of the year is the tennis season?
Yeah, I mean, most of them play year round.
Okay.
Our actual season is January through May.
Okay.
Hopefully May. This year we came up a little bit short, so we finished after our conference tournament, which is usually mid to late April. But yeah, most of those kids, like my kids probably took 5 days to a week off and then they started playing again because it's kind of like, I don't know if you've heard like swimmers, they can't really take a week off because they lose that cardiovascular. But for tennis, it's more of, they call it the feel of the ball. So they have to keep playing like pretty consistently. And then over the summer, they'll play a lot of like either pro tournaments or just tournaments on some of the smaller circuits and stuff when they're at home. And then we get back in the fall and we have a lot of the fall is like individual tournaments. So they'll kind of go and play wherever the coach thinks that they need to go play. But yeah, so they're playing most of the time year round. They'll take a little bit of break around Christmas and stuff like that too. But yeah, they play all the time.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. Our season this year was January is pretty slow, and then February we started to get into ACC play, which was new for us. And then we had that ACC tournament just a couple weeks ago. So
First year in the ACC.
Yeah.
Moving
tough.
on up.
Yeah.
It was very tough.
Wow. Does it feel different being in the ACC versus being in the AAC?
Yeah, I think we pretty much dominated the AAC. Like
Yeah.
it was definitely time for us to like move on. But then we kind of started at the bottom of the ACC. The ACC is probably kind of like lacrosse, probably the toughest league for tennis.
Mm.
So most of the teams that we were playing are going to be like top 25 teams.
Oh,
There's a
wow.
couple that are kind of down at the bottom with us, but there's a pretty big difference in level as soon as you get to the ACC. So
Um,
that
do
was
you
definitely tough.
do you remember who won the men's and women's ACC tournament?
Um, I want to say, well, it was kind of a big upset because Wake was undefeated on the men's side going into it. And they lost, I think, to Virginia, who we lost to. And then I think Stanford won, I want to say, on the men's side. I can't remember who won on the
Mm,
women's. Our
gotcha.
women's team lost in the first round, and so they left pretty early. And then our men's team lost in the second. So,
Wow.
Gotcha.
yeah.
Um,
Yep.
and then so for, everyday people, they're probably like, "Oh, tennis." Like anybody can play tennis. You see people playing tennis from little kids all the way up to like 70 plus year old people.
Yeah.
It's something that is overall fairly accessible to a lot of people when they want to like play a sport. Maybe that involves like equipment, other than just like running or something like that. Um, so people looking on the outside are probably like, oh, tennis probably isn't that hard. Like anybody can do it, all that kind of stuff. But as someone who is working with like high level college athletes, I'm sure you're like, no, tennis like at a high level is a lot harder than people kind of expect it to be. So what kind of things do you see with these athletes in terms of like, how much work they're putting in, what's kind of like going on with their bodies, or like are you seeing a ton of injuries? Is there anything you're seeing a lot of? Like what does that look like for them and kind of like your interaction with them?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was the same way coming into tennis. I think I was like, oh, anybody can play tennis. It's really not that difficult. The scoring to start off is crazy. I don't know who came up with it, but it's insane. I'm like, why? Why do we do it
What
like
was
this?
wrong with just single points?
Yeah, why can't we just go 1, 2, 3, 4? Like we have to do all this other crap. But yeah, so I think that threw me for a loop the first time I watched. But yeah, I think it's insane. I think tennis is one of the only sports that there's not a clock. Okay, so like some of our matches that I've been a part of have lasted 3.5, 4 hours, which is insane that someone could be locked in and focused for that long. I think that's the hardest part about tennis is the mental side of it. You're out there by yourself. Although you're with your team, you are playing your individual match. And so I think that's kind of tough to wrap my head around. And like for those that don't know how college tennis works, you play three doubles matches to start, and whoever wins two out of the three gets a point on the board. And then it goes into singles play, and you have six singles players playing right next to each other at the same time. And each of those counts as a point if you win the match. So overall, to win a collegiate tennis match, you need 4 points. So a lot of these matches can come down to it's 3-all, and it's coming down to literally one person on the court left, and your team is standing there watching you. So I think there's a lot of mental pressure on it, and I see that every day, honestly. Um, the the thing about tennis too, it's like it's not football where like you tear an ACL and you're done for the season. Like a lot of our injuries, you're gonna have to play through because it's not very many people on your team, and you're ranked 1 through 6. So if you're one of those line players, like you got to be able to play. And so it's kind of my job to keep them on the court when it comes to injuries like that. So we had some pretty tough stuff last year, I will say. Like we had some pretty brutal injuries that I was just like, we got to get through. Like we just have to like get you well enough to be on court to play to finish. Whereas this year I had a lot more of that, the aches and pains and stuff that we just kind of had to deal with throughout the season. And so that's where I have some of my certifications like dry needling and stuff like that really helped because it was something that I could do for them that would kind of get them through to the next day. And so honestly, we didn't really have any major injuries, knock on wood, I'll take it. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, these kids have a high level of their endurance athletes. They have probably 90-second breaks between games, but one of the big things that we focus on is getting their heart rate to come down enough during those 90-second breaks that they kind of get a little bit of recovery before going out and playing their next game. So it's tough. I mean, to watch, if you haven't watched a college match. It's intense and it's loud and it gets rowdy, which is unusual. Like watching some of the, Wimbledon and stuff like that, it's not quite the same. Like you have your team on the side just yelling and chirping at the other team, and it gets pretty crazy, especially on the men's side. They get after each other, but it's a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, it's definitely very difficult. I don't think I could go out and do what they do. And the amount of lateral movement and forward movement, and I mean, if you watch a kid serve, some of our men's guys, I mean, they can serve at 120 miles an hour most of the time. I'm just surprised their arm doesn't come off. I just don't know how they do it.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Is kind of going back a little bit with I was just thinking about this with like the roster cap becoming smaller, and then like how you were saying, people can transfer at any time. Have you already seen a bunch of like transfers and stuff, or do you not feel like you see that as much in tennis as you do in like kind of those bigger name sports?
You kind of do. I mean, like for example, the kid, I think the Wake Forest team had, most of them are like my age that played on that team, which is insane.
Wow.
I'm not sure how they still had eligibility, but they had like anywhere from like 24. I think the oldest kid on the team was like 26 or 27. So that's kind of crazy. But I think you are starting to see that a little bit more, where some of these kids will transfer after they've graduated from undergrad, wherever they were, and then they want to go get a master's somewhere else. So that's where I've seen, like, we have had a couple people come to SMU for that reason, where they're like, we have a good business school and stuff. They want to get a master's. So it's a little more, I think, rooted in their education instead of them just kind of transferring to transfer.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah.
Nice. Jess, do you have any other questions that come to mind?
No.
Okay.
One. What's the most brutal injury you've seen in tennis?
Ooh, I had a girl who, she had patellar tendonitis, which doesn't sound bad, but at the end of the season, we went to go get it looked at, and 75% of her patellar tendon was torn.
Oh my God.
So she had to have a repair, but she played on that the whole season.
Wow.
She was a freaking tough cookie.
Oh,
so,
God.
That's brutal.
yeah, so it's kind of not like brutal injuries. I mean, that obviously
No, it's
is
brutal.
but it's not like acute, oh my gosh, like I have to
Yeah, you're not
emergency, like take
a
care of
bone
something.
coming
It's-
out kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, if
That's
that's
brutal.
happening, then we have other issues. Yeah, but that was we have had a lot of kids have surgery like after their season's over. Just they fought through whatever they have going on, and then yeah, but 75% was pretty crazy.
That is
Wow.
crazy.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, that hurts. Oof.
Yeah.
Oh,
Awesome. Well, Hannah, thank you for joining us on the Sports
Thank
Social
you.
Club. Much appreciated.
heck yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Nice to learn a little bit about the insides of college tennis and all that's going on with that.
Mhm.
Feel free, come back on again in the future if you'd like to join us for some other talks about
I
that.
think
Yeah.
you have a line
Pony
now
up.
of
I know,
people that want
I
to
know.
be on y'all's podcast.
I know,
so.
Jess, and I've got other people since Cody came on the episode. I've got other people that are like, when am I getting on the pod? I'm like, well,
Yeah,
let's make a
come
calendar,
on.
make a list.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it should be good. So for all of you listening, be sure to tune in for our future episodes of other guests that are coming on. Who knows what we'll be talking about? Probably some basketball, probably some football, probably, whatever anybody else is interested in and has experience in. So if you're listening and want to be on the podcast, let us know. We're
Yeah.
always open to guests, and kind of love to mix it up, stuff like that. Cool.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. So, Jess, our final segment. Hannah, you can join in on this too. Jess, what are you going to be watching this week?
I'm going to be watching the NBA playoffs. Woohoo. Some NHL playoffs as well, aka the Dallas Stars especially. And then some UFL. We got UFL still going on. So, and then also White Lotus.
I haven't seen that. I've heard good things.
You need to watch it.
I now have HBO Max. Well, we got it from
So
somebody
happy.
else. So now I can watch it.
Yay. Yes, you got to watch it.
Okay. Yeah, I might need to. What I'm watching this week, obviously NHL playoffs, number one priority. Probably going to be watching some lacrosse now that other things are winding down. Might need to tune into some college lacrosse because they're in like the middle of their season right now, but approaching playoffs. Same with college baseball and softball. Cody and I were talking about softball the other day because it was the Red River rivalry game
Yeah.
yesterday. I think OU won. They were winning when
Yep.
I saw. And in the top 10, I think it was either 7 or 8 schools are in the SEC. I was
Yes.
like, that's insane.
Makes me so mad.
OSU softball was like, I think he said it was like 23 or 24.
Yeah.
OSU baseball not ranked. I'm like,
No.
oh, so
Looking
terrible.
Yeah, no. Majority of the SEC is in like the ranked in softball and baseball.
Crazy.
It's sad.
But that is what I'll be watching this week. And then I guess outside of sports, you mentioned White Lotus. Maybe I'll need to start that. I just started The Summer I Turned Pretty, so gotta watch that.
Yeah.
And then, well, there's a new season coming out, so.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah,
so I'm
July,
catching
right?
up.
I think
you know.
July.
Oh.
And then we've been watching a little bit of The Pit. Have you guys been watching that?
Loved The Pit. I watched it all.
Yeah, haven't finished yet, but still watching that. So,
Great show.
Hannah,
it's
what?
all accurate.
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah.
Hannah, what are you watching this week?
I'll probably tune in and watch the stars for sure.
Sure.
I don't know what else is really on right now. Probably I try to watch some Arkansas baseball. They were one in the country for a hot minute. I don't think they are anymore, but
They're always
still pretty good. Yeah, and then I'm also finishing the 3rd season of White Lotus, so I'm sure we will finish that.
Yeah. Did
So,
you get past
so
the
good.
weird scene? The weird.
No,
Never
I
mind.
don't
Nope.
think
Okay,
so
never mind.
yet.
Nope.
I have heard lots of things about this 3rd season, though.
Yeah, I was about to say, when you see a weird scene, you'll know what I'm talking about.
You'll know.
Noted. Season 3, weird scene.
Yep.
Got it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for listening. And feel free to tune in next week. Who knows what we'll be talking about? Probably recapping some more NBA, NHL playoffs. Hopefully the Stars are still playing next time we have an episode, because there's a chance they might not be.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably recap some F1. Who knows what else? Something crazy might happen, and we'll be ready for it.
Yep.
So
Hell yeah.
until next time, this was the Sports Social Club with Alex and Jess and Hannah. And I'm Alex.
I'm Jess.
And I'm Anna.
All right.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.